You wouldn't believe my real testimony. Can't imagine. Hallelujah. 95.3 FM and 1450 AM. WTAL and W237 FB. Tallahassee's highest praise. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Facebook family, go ahead on tag and share. Want to say happy February to you on this February 2nd, 2022. Go ahead on tag and share. Let's get everybody in today. I'm going to do today is going to be a very special day, and I think this is going to bless your life. Go ahead on, get everybody in. If you can hear, I want you to put some hearts on that screen. Warren K, how are you, man? Glad to have you tuned in to Wake Up Wednesday. I want to say thank you so much for all you're doing out there in the community. We certainly appreciate you.
And now here's your host, Greg James.
Want to say good afternoon and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. It's February the 2nd, 2022. Let me say that again. It's 2/2/22. Let me say it again. I want you to get it in your spirit. 2/2/22. That's right. We're getting ready to rock 2/2/22 on this Wake Up Wednesday right here on, that's right, Hallelujah 95.3. Want to say good afternoon to all of those who are tuned in to us by Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Hey, listen, I'm glad to have you sharing with me on this wonderful Wednesday. Listen, I tell you, it has been an amazing journey for me, and I'm grateful to God for what he's doing and how he's doing it. Want to say good afternoon to my main man over at Who's Next. That's right, Who's Next Mobile Barbershop. Hey, I'm going to give him a chance to call me because I want to know how in the world he created a mobile barbershop. I believe it's the only one in Tallahassee where he come to you on wheels. I'm going to have him give me a call at the station real shortly, and we're going to talk about that because he's been doing an amazing job. And I'm going to have my man, Mr. Who's Next Mobile Barbershop, to give me a call. Hey, listen, I want to say good afternoon to all of you that are tuned in on the broadcast. For those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I'm going to ask Yvonne, would she go ahead on and put the number to the station in our thread? That's for all of our Facebookers and our YouTubers. Want to say to those of you who are tuned in, who are listening by way of airways, want to say thank you for our House Representative Ramon Alexander, a voice that is truly being heard throughout the nation. And certainly we're excited about the leadership that he is providing at the Capitol. And we are going to be definitely speaking to him real shortly. But listen, don't go nowhere. Keep it locked right here. 850-671-1410. I'm going to be praying for some people throughout the broadcast. Come share inspirational word with you. And certainly we want you to know that there's so much that I'm going to be inviting you to do in the month of February. We got a power pack show. Today I was supposed to be talking with some Black developers, contractors on today because of an event that is coming on. Somehow our wires got crossed up, but however, I'm going to give you what the Spirit has placed in my heart to do on this Wake Up Wednesday. Keep it locked right here, 95.3 FM. It's Wake Up Wednesday. Let this song bless you. I will be right back. Wes Hayes, how are you, man? We getting ready to go to church Facebook. Go ahead on tag share. Let's get everybody in today. It's Wake Up Wednesday. Let's get everybody in. Let's get everybody in. Who's next? I want you to give me a call shortly, 850-671-1410. That's the number to call. I want to be talking to you real soon. Doing good, West, man. Bless you, man. Appreciate all you're doing. I see that you got to keep receipts, brother. I mean, I know you want to help the community and you want to do a good thing, but if you don't keep receipts, Uncle Sam, IRS, they coming. Got to keep receipts. Take it from me. Hey, but I appreciate all you're doing, man, to make our city and our community much better. I'm going to give you a chance to talk to me about what you think about the gun violence that's going on in our community, what we got to do, how we going to make a difference in our community with the gun violence. So 850-205-1410, that's the number, Vonda. Which one is it now? Which one is it? Give me which one it is. Pastor Annie Bird. All right. Give me which one is it? 850-205-1410. If that's it, put it back in the thread so I can have it. 850. All right, Pastor Bird, God bless you. Listen, we're going to give a chance to have a conversation on the airways about gun violence, what's taking place, what's your thoughts, what's your ideas, and I want you to be involved in the conversation. I want you to pick up your phone, and I want you to dial the number 850-205-1410. When I get ready to have that conversation, Wes, I want to hear your voice. You're in the heart of the city. You're in the neighborhood. We all in the same community. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'm going to have that conversation real soon. And I'm going to give people to call in so that we can talk about it. I mean, I'm just amazed at so many programs that are popping up that are being funded, and people who are running them have no clue, no experience, have not even been a part of the lifestyle. But hey, it's not snatched by the students. Absolutely. All right. Absolutely. So listen, Annie, Pastor Annie, I want you to give me a call. Let's talk about it. I'm getting ready to dive into this conversation real soon. So you can give me a call and let's talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts and want to hear your ideas as we talk about the gun violence that's here in our city. But it's everywhere, really. And I think that we cannot point fingers at law enforcement about gun violence because they're not putting guns into the hands of those who are using them. We just got to figure out what we're going to do as a community. And once we can figure that out, then I think we can make a difference. All right. Well, so get ready. Those of you who want to, 850-205-1410, Bonner, that's the number. Thank you so much. That's right. God bless you. It is Wake Up Wednesday right here on 95.3. Hallelujah. Listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the phone lines in a little bit because I want to have a conversation about some of the things that are going on in our city. It's Black History Month, and I made this statement in our service on last week when I looked at the gun violence that has been plaguing our city since the beginning of the year. And I want you to really think about it. We cannot blame or nor point fingers at law enforcement, whether it's the police department, whether it's the sheriff department. They are not putting guns in the hands of the people who are using them. They're not out giving guns away. So let's stop blaming law enforcement. I mean, at the end of the day, what we really have to do is take a real big self-inventory of ourselves, and we have to really look at what are we doing to rid ourselves of the problem. So we're going to be talking about the epidemic. That's what I'm getting ready to call it, the epidemic of gun violence. And it's easy for us to point the fingers at those who are in leadership. It's easy for us to come down and make a noise about who's running the city or who's at the county about the problem. But the question is, what are we doing as a community? Here it is. We looked in the last month, we seen black on black shooting incidents. And I was wondering, where was the outcry? I mean, I was wondering, where were those who have loud voices whenever there is an issue? And to my surprise, it was totally silenced No one's saying anything. And so I'll begin to say to myself, Black lives really, do they really matter? Nobody makes an outcry about what we see, but let a white person or a different nationality have an incident. My God, the streets are flooded. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about our community and gun violence. And when we look at solutions, we're going to figure out what can we do. And I think that's one of the most important things that we must take a look at, because it's on the rise. And it's not just here in Tallahassee. I think it's everywhere. The number to call is 850-205-1410. That's the number that we are going to kick off our conversation when it comes to community and gun violence. And so your thoughts matter to me, and I want to hear those thoughts. Also, I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to, Doris, how you doing when it comes to the community being engaged in programs? Because I'm looking at so much that is going on with different programs that are being birthed in our community. And I'm looking at the leadership of these programs, and I'm looking at the fact that this is just my own personal opinion on the Wake Up Wednesday show. And I'm looking at the people who are leading these programs have a very small sense of, this is just my opinion, and of understanding what some of the needs are in our community. So 850-205-1410, that's the number you want to call, and you want to share your thoughts, your ideas right here when we talk about gun violence that's plaguing our city. When we look at Wes, why don't you give me a call? 850-205-1410. 671 1450. Okay, Vonda, you had the right number posted in my thread. 671-1450. 671-1450. That's the number to call. 671-1450. That's the number to call. 850-671-1450. That is the number that you want to call. 850-671-1450. Wes Hayes, 850-671-1450. That's the number that you want to call. And thank you, Yvonne, for putting that in the thread. That's the new number. That's not the new number. That's the correct number. 850-671-1450. I want to hear from you. Don't be quiet, because it's a matter where your voice needs to be heard. Gun violence in our community. You remember how it was, personal beef that goes on for a while, then you have someone step in. All right, 850-671-1450. That's the number to call. Listen, while you're getting your calls together, I'm going to let this song bless you. We're going to be right back, and we're going to be talking to some of those callers that want to share your thoughts and your ideas when it comes to what we see in our community. Eight 671-1450. That's the number you want to call to join me as we conversate about a community that's plagued with gun violence. And so I'm waiting to hear from you. Give me a call right here. All right. All right. Hey, Miss Doris, I want to thank you so much for all you do to make sure that we are making the kind of impact that we need to make. Hallelujah. 850-671-1450. Let's see. What can we do to make it happen as we talk about gun violence in the city. As we talk about gun violence in the city, the number to call, whatever your thoughts are on Facebook, place them in the comments. What are your thoughts when it comes to gun violence? What must we do? How must we go about trying to make things better in the city? How important is it for us to do what is necessary to empower the youth that are in the city? So I'm looking to hear from you, and we will further the conversation. 850-671-1450. Looking to hear from you, and we will talk about what we need to talk about, the gun violence that is plaguing the city of Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. Hey, amen. Bless you. Want to say good afternoon, and we're back. We're talking. It's Wake Up Wednesday. It's the beginning of a Black History Month. It's the second, and it's 2022. We got a call on the line. Want to say good afternoon. 850-671-1450. So while we're waiting, we're going to have a conversation on gun violence, and we're going to talk about how you and how the community can become engaged. And while we're going to kick off that conversation a little later on in the program, we've got several people that are going to call in, and we're going to chat with them about their thoughts on gun violence as it pertains to our community as a whole. But while we're doing that, this is what I want to share with you today. I want to be very inspirational, and I feel like as we look at February 2nd, 2020, I want you to look at a very familiar passage that I feel like is life-changing for where we are as we look at what we see going on. The joy, Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10 says something that all of us need. He says, the joy of the Lord is my strength. And when we look at what's going on in our world, we're wondering, have I lost my joy? And so we're going to talk about that as well. So I'm getting ready to talk to a caller who is calling me now on the airlines. Want to say good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Greg. How's it going, man?
Man, I am absolutely well, Vaughn. I am delighted to have you on. Listen, we're getting ready to start a conversation about our community, gun violence, and one of the things that I would just like to throw out before we get started is this. Law enforcement is not our problem. Hello? Law enforcement is not the problem that we're having when it comes to gun violence.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. By the time law enforcement is called, whatever has happened has already happened. The only deterrent, somewhat, and it won't be the complete deterrent, but we got to legislate some kind of control. But that's not going to stop the black market. I understand. I heard a disturbing fact in a municipality meeting this week that they're out there selling these 40 caliber guns for a little over $100.
Wait a minute, you said they're selling 40 caliber guns for $100.
Well, 40 millimeters or 40 caliber, or something to that effect. They sell them for a little over $100 now. That's the gun that's moving on the street. That's scary. That's scary. That's what part of it is, that supply is so abundant and it's affordable to have one.
So let me ask you this, Vaughn, because you know, I'm for all of the rallies. I'm for all of the marching. I'm for all of the radical voices that we hear. But how is it that we become so silent when we just realize in our communities, we see blacks killing blacks? We see what has happened with our youth that is just devastating, and nobody is saying nothing.
For some reason, we have become distracted that a police killing is worse than a shooting in the hood. Well, it's 100 shootings in the hood to every one police killing. The police killing is not the problem. We don't like them when it's wrong, but that's not the problem. The problem is that
That's right. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, Greg?
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. The last thing I heard you say was that we don't like the police shootings, but that's not the problem. You go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's not the problem. The real problem is Pookie, that we know is up to no good. And we don't complain about Pookie until we don't think Pookie is the problem. We think he just out there doing it to other people till it comes to our home. Well, it's too late. You could have stopped Pookie when he was doing wrong to other people. But we sit there and let this happen and allow it until we put our foot down and start reporting things as they happen. We're not going to be able to protect the neighborhood if you can't protect your house.
Well, I mean, I think you said two things that I'm appreciative of, and I want to really just kind of expound on. One is that until we start reporting, and we talk about it takes a village. We talk about the community must be engaged. We talk about how important it is for us to be our brother's keeper. But why is it that we see stuff going on in the community and people are afraid to report? Why is that?
I don't get it. Well, I'm telling you, I think it was the people that are in that game put out that don't snitch, and they got that mentality out there, and they got some rappers, and that became cool, and it became a creed, and it became adopted. I don't think it's snitching. I think it's upholding the safety of our communities. We got to stop looking at this snitching. It's upholding the safety of our community, because at some point it's going to come back around to your own house.
Absolutely. And what do you feel that, I mean, your thoughts on what we can do as a community? Because I'm literally frustrated. I'm literally angry. Like I was telling someone, I don't want to go to another meeting. I don't want to sit down and discuss what we discussed before, to have another discussion about the same thing again. Resources have to be placed inside our communities.
Absolutely. And because part of the people these kids have these mentalities is that they don't see a way out. And a big part of that is that we stop valuing trade, learning a trade. Right now at TCC, in their program, they are hiring welders. They are hiring AC people before the people even graduate. And they're making good money. And they're making more money than people who graduate with degrees from college. But we have made that not cool. We got to get back to making that cool so these kids can see a way out.
Wow. Well, you know, I'm so grateful for you taking time to just give us a call, share your thoughts, share your ideas, because I think that if we're going to to create the kind of village that we need, if we're going to make our communities safe, if we're going to do everything that needs to be done, we have to get involved, and we cannot sit back and be afraid to, one, recognize that we've got to say something, two, be actively engaged in helping to solve some of the problems, and three, creating a village environment, because without that, the village is going to be vicious, as we can see.
Well, Greg, let me see. And today it's appropriate that we're talking about this today, because today is what? National Signing Day. All over the country, the biggest highlight around, some of the biggest news, even though we got Russia on the brink of war over there, the biggest news is what kids from high school is signing with. And most of them are black kids. We do know that.
Right.
So with all of that attention, it shows that's where our values are, with where they're going to play football. We need to have a signing day for kids going to vocational school. We need to get with a newspaper and say, hey, Ray graduated from Rickett. He is headed to TCC. Ray headed the mechanic school at Lively, and show these kids some importance, because they feel the opposite side of these kids feeling special that are signing. There's an adverse effect to the kids that are not signing.
Wow.
Whether they play ball or not, their value of themselves is that I didn't do anything where I can be in the paper or I could be the center of attention. So we got to make education cool. We got to make getting your life together for a reason, setting yourself up for life. We got to make that cool.
Wow. You know, man, I tell you, you just said something that was really so important. And at the end of the day, we got to make things that are not being polarized as cool. We have to make it cool, because believe it or not, like you said, rappers are great influencers, and to hear their message, it makes all of the negative things cool. And it does not shed light on the things that are powerful and that can change our lives. So I really appreciate that. Listen, I'm going to thank you, and I'm going to be getting together with a major roundtable. And Vaughn, I'd love to have you involved. I've been talking with Lamonte Moore. He's getting ready to call us now. And we've been just talking with gathering 100+ guys from the different neighborhoods. And if we can't get the resources that we need, then we just put our resources together and do what we need to do to make sure that we begin to curb the violence that is plaguing our communities. Vaughn Wilson, once again, thank you so much, man. Last final words. God bless you. Hey, 850-671-1450. Lamonte, looking to hear from you. Wes Hayes. Hey, we got a call on the line. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? Okay, who's next? Man, listen. First of all, let me congratulate you on being the first mobile barbering vehicle that travels throughout. I remember not too long ago, I heard that you were in Quincy, and this is what is commendable. You were in Gadsden County, you parked, you cut kids' hair from about 8 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, and kids were coming. And so I want to celebrate you for, the work that you're doing to make a difference in the community.
Thank you, sir.
Well, join in on the conversation. Your thoughts about gun violence in the community.
Well, my take on that is first of all, we got too many parents being friends with the kids, and the kids don't have no fear. They need to get back to old school raising kids. Kids don't have no fear. Therefore, they have no consequences, no discipline. So therefore, you have no regard for human life, and you feel like life is a video. You just go out there and do whatever, and then nobody don't say nothing, because too many of us have gotten afraid to even speak. That's why I'm so glad that God blessed me with the job that I have. I speak to young men on a daily basis, and I don't talk at them. I talk to them. You know, I share my strength, hope, and experience, and I got pictures of all kind of brothers from all walks of life inside this book, letting them know that they can do it too.
Wow.
I want a picture of them in here, other than the jail cell picture.
Well, and I'm saying who's next because that's the name of the barbershop and that's what you're going to brand by. But you said something that was so important, and I want to just kind of like see how we can expand on that because kids and parents. I mean, it's good to have a friendly relationship. It's good to be able to be open and being able to have conversation about anything as a parent with your children, but it's just difficult when you are how I want to say it, you are participating like you are the child and the kid is the parent.
That's why they need to get back to old school ways of raising kids. They got an old saying: you play with a puppy, you lick you in the face. But if you start out teaching that puppy how to sit and stay, that's what they're gonna do. You know, they know who the boss is. And the folks go out there and work and make it happen so you can eat and have clothes on your back and this and that. But there's too many parents out here hanging out with the kids, smoking dope with them, partying with them at the club. And you can talk about your mom and dad and wear your clothes in that kind of way. It's no governing on that anymore. And they need to get back to it.
Wow.
And that's basically the kid.
And I think that, and I have a comment in the chat. Parents need to be friendly parents, not friends. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Sanders. Well, let me ask you this, because we are all. You celebrated one of our Joseph Projects Award, a young man who understand what it means to make bad choices, understand the consequences behind those choices, and you was a recipient of our Joseph Award, where we honor men who served time and are now coming back into the community doing positive things. So definitely want to celebrate you for that. So how is it that when we look at what's going on in our community, we are constantly want to point fingers at law enforcement. We constantly want to point fingers at those who are elected officials, but we are never really taking responsibility for the actions that we are not doing. What must we do? I mean, because
scripture, raise a child in the way he must go and he won't return from when they get wrong. That means he's gonna mess up, but he'll be back. You can be expected to mess up sometimes. Hello?
I'm here. I hear you.
Hello? Oh yeah. I mean, you get out there in the world. I mean, you don't have to go be a crackhead if in experiment you see what it's doing to your next door neighbor. I'm not saying get out there and do that. But what I am saying is, you make little minor mistakes along the way. You can't keep all these kids. Having a child shelter all their life is doing worse than taking them down on skid row and beat some people.
Wow.
You know, if you keep them in the house all the time, they're not gonna be ready for this world, man.
Wow.
Everything is gonna be entitlement, based on entitlement and emotion.
Wow.
Versus intellect.
Wow.
You know, you take a child down there, educate them about what it's like to be on skid row, and then you have kids that are pay attention in their school, and they'll stay away from the streets and the guns and drugs and violence and all that foolishness.
Wow.
You know?
Well, listen, Travis, man, I really want to thank you. And then I want to say something else because we've always been engaging in the community work. But I want to say that I'm getting ready to have a major forum with men, formerly incarcerated men from all walks of life, because it's obvious that we have been part of the problems. We have been able to know the recipe for tearing up communities. So we also know the solution. And it's obvious that until we unite ourselves and do what needs to be done, we can't look for people to fund our programs because we're not getting that. So therefore, we just got to come together as a group, do what we need to do. So I'm going to be reaching out to you along with so many others to join us in a major conversation with a plan of action. Thank you so much for calling.
I'm just a phone call away. Thank you, man.
That's right. Who's next? Barbershop, located on the corner of Tharp and Old Bramage. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm I'm wonderful. How are you?
Man, I'm absolutely phenomenal, man. Gun violence in the community. The community is silent, or is the community actively engaged in trying to bring solutions to the problem? Or are we just pointing fingers and blaming those who in law enforcement uniforms, those who are sitting in seats of authority? What are we doing?
I think we're doing a little bit of that, the latter two. We're blaming. We're not really doing a whole lot. And I don't know if we're not doing a whole lot because we're afraid or out of ignorance, because we really don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. We really don't know what avenues or who would help us to do what needs to be done. And I think that has a major part in it, is that we don't know who, because there's not really a lot of folks who's willing to go that extra mile. And those that are willing to go the extra mile, they don't know which resources are going to actually help them to go the extra mile.
Wow. And you know, one of the things I want to say to you, Minister Bruce, you are in the community, man. You are out there. I mean, what I'm grateful for the relationship that I'm having with so many men who have made bad choices, who have spent time away from their family, who knows what it's like to live that life, who knows what it's like to carry the pistol, who knows what it's like to run inside of a house and do whatever is necessary at that time, but who also now understands that we got to educate. So I want to applaud you for the work that you're doing in our community. But then also now, let me ask you this, because you said something that was so important. You're doing the work, people are doing the work, but they don't know where to get resources to help facilitate or help to give stronger results to the work they're doing, because you're doing the work because you've been called to do it.
Yes. And I think a lot of folks are discouraged because even though they're called to do it, it seems like when they get a running start, there seems like there's always some loophole, or not only a loophole, but there's some avenues that say, well, you cannot do this, or I cannot help you because of this. Instead of saying, well, let's look at the bigger picture. What is it that you're really attempting to do? You're attempting to help some of those folks who are struggling, who don't know how to get help, who don't know how to have hope. And instead of saying, well, let's find a way to help you or assist you so that you can get that done, so that you can help those people. And it's like there's walls that are drawn up just to discredit or to discard you from being able to get and reach those people that need the help more than anything, that really need the service that you're actually saying, I want to help you get it together. I want to help you change and transform your life. But because of this clause in exit number 37.9, I can't help you do that.
Right.
And that's some of the things that they're running, challenges that they're running into.
And I think that we've got to be able to figure out how we empower each other. Now, if I was to ask you, I mean, our listening base right now is probably, we got about 10, 12,000 people listening to us in the region. Right now, knowing your story, you're releasing a major video depicting your life story. You're not ashamed of that story. That story has opened doors for you. That story has been something that has made your life what it is today. Tell us a little bit about that, but then I want you to tell me, what is the greatest result that you've seen from being out in the street trying to help guys put down the gun, change their way of life, get off drugs? What has been a great testimony that you can share with our audience today?
Well, you know, it's always great that God has delivered me. That is awesome. And I'm so grateful, especially after all 23 years of my addiction and 21 treatment centers. But 18 years ago, God said enough was enough. So I'm grateful for that. But one of the greatest parts of that is being able to see or being around somebody else who's struggling, and they see where God has brought me from, especially if they knew me out there, if they knew or heard about how bad I was, because I was pretty bad. I was horrible. But then to see that and then to say, what did you do? How can I change my life? What do I got to do? And to be able to walk them through that, or to be able to help them say, hey, listen, this is what you got to do, or this is what I did. And after I made that decision, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, you know,
King David said this, then I will teach other transgressors thy ways. And another one of the things that has really blessed me is seeing men like you, Greg, Apostle, and seeing other men and women that God has delivered and set free, seeing other men that God has transformed their lives. And it gives me the hope that, you know what? Hey, God is no respecter of person, and he did it for him or her, and he's doing it for me to be able to tell them he'll do it for you too. Are you really ready? Are you really wanting to do it? Because if you are, then I can show you what God did for me, how I did it, how he changed my life. And look, there's Apostle Greg James. Look, God changed his life. God fixed his life. Look, there's Prophet Rebecca. Look at what God did for her. Apostle Kimberly James. Look at what God did for her. And there's several other examples. So for me, those are highlights. Man, look at what God is doing. And then to go into a neighborhood and be able to say, listen, for those of you who want help and hope, here it is. And that's one of the things, like this project, that's not my name anymore. God said, listen, drug addict, liars, whoremonger, junkie, liar, cheat. That's not what I call my people. I call them more than conquerors. I call them redeemed. I call them blessed. I call them joint heirs. I call them the head and not the tail. That's what I want you to tell them, that there's hope, there's help, and there's healing. And God is saying, now I'm putting you back out there, just like I brought you out, but I'm sending you back so that you can help bring some more back over here. Like King David said, then I will teach other transgressors thy ways. And so those are the things that I get excited about, being able to go back in and pull somebody else out of the fire, like somebody came in and pulled me out of the fire.
Wow. Hey, Thaddeus, I want to say, man, once again, I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for your courage. I'm thankful for your relentless efforts to say, no matter what, whether my program is funded, I'm going into the gutters, I'm going into the high risk crime areas, and I'm gonna, if I don't pull out but one, I'm going to do what I can to make a difference. And just, can you imagine 100? I mean, they got the March of 100, and people get excited when it's halftime. I mean, the band is known throughout the world, but can you imagine 100 men formerly incarcerated, 100 men who have come out of addiction, 100 men who know what it means to deal with gun violence, 100 men who knows what it means to be isolated. Can you imagine what that looks like when we invade a neighborhood? Because in the neighborhood, we know who. They just looking for opportunities. We know that if Joe Boy is out there selling and doing what he's doing it for a reason. But if we can reach him to give him another outlet, then what happens?
And it's so amazing that you say that, Apostle, because the truth of the matter is, there's so many of them that honestly don't want to be out there, but they can't find another way. They don't have another resource to go to. They weren't educated. They didn't have parents that would bail them out and say, here, I'm going to pave the way for you to get the help and the resources that you need to become the man or the woman of God, or the man or woman that you're supposed to be, that you're created to be. So then they turn to what they know, what they've seen, what they've understood. That's how they get it, with a gun, with turning dope, with turning tricks, whatever it is. That's all they've seen. And then, but to see 100 men or 100 men and women coming out to be able to say, hey, I crossed that bridge. I was there. I'm not telling you from what I heard or what I read. I'm telling you because I was there. I remember the time when I got beat upside the head with a gun. I was sitting in a room with nothing but all kinds of weapons was all surrounding us. I was there, but God brought me out. I wanted out. And I can see you crying, and I see them hurting, but they don't know another way out. And like even today, like we were talking earlier, wanting to rules and regulations that are against it, that don't make provision for it, they don't know any other way. Or they get out, and then they still got all the adversity against them to be able to walk right and to be able to make something and to do it the right way. So it's like, yes, I see it. Especially, as you said, 100 men are going out into the community that have walked and crossed those bridges, have walked in those shoes, and they say, hey, listen, there is a better way.
Wow.
Let me show you. Let me help you get to this side, because I see the hurt in your eyes and your heart that you're saying, I don't want to do this anymore, but I don't know how else or what else to do. My God, I hear you.
Wow.
I hear you, Apostle.
Well, listen, I tell you, man, I want to thank God for you. Thank you for calling. I want to thank you so much for all you do. That's Minister Thaddeus Bruce. Y'all listen, watch out for his new video release. I'm going to be bringing him on the show to let him display it. Why? Because here's a brother who has stood shoulder to shoulder with me. We've gone into areas and neighborhoods to reach the last, the least, and the lost. And he's made it his business to not be ashamed of his story. Thaddeus Bruce, thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, we're talking gun violence in the community. 850-671-1450. That's the number to call. You can give us a call. So many comments are coming in through the chat. Warren K, certainly, man, you do know we've been talking about this over and over again. Definitely Wes Hayes, hey, you're right. Social media has a lot to do with what is happening and the influence and the impact that is happening on our youth. Doris Strong, better youth programs and programs to teach fathers to be good fathers. Amen. We've got to have that. And there are so many programs that are out there. But here's the thing about it. People who have the passion to do what they do, they just do it. They create the revenue they need. They sell dinners. They do whatever they need to do to get the funds that they need to get to do what needs to be done to help communities. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Pastor James, I love that you're staying so relevant.
Thank you.
On the post. And in light of what went down with the fellow Sam Ewan, that was a serious tragedy that I hope we don't sweep under the carpet. I'm talking about Miss Bryant.
Yes.
And I know that in February, in fact, the 22nd, there's going to be a Jewish synagogue in town that has some of their I'll call you more on it, but you can investigate it. But nonetheless, some of their religious leaders want to have community at large to come at their temple, and they want to sit down and talk and get some strategic programs off the ground that give people on the South Side some options. I mean, they're not going to just talk about it. I do believe our Jewish brothers and sisters, they want this community to be safer, not just on their side of town, but all around. So it's February the 22nd, and I do believe it's Temple Israel off of Mayhem.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Ms. Bryant, I would love for you to inbox me more information about that and give me a contact of who I can contact to just get that word out. Because, you know, one of the things that I think is so vitally important is that our voices must be heard, not when it's just a police shooting or not when law enforcement has done something. As you said, it's so important that we rise up now to really do something about what we're seeing. I mean, we can't keep having meetings after meetings after meetings. We have so many people who are working in silos and they're doing what they can. But what happens if we just unite? And what happens if we were able to create the kind of funding that is needed to show young boys how to be men, to show them a skill set that can change their life? Because it takes a village, as we all say, it takes a village. But what we complain about is how vicious the village has become, and we're very silent about it. So when we see what's happening, how safe do you think people feel in the community?
I mean, I can't I can't judge how safe people feel, but what I do know is, like older women have said, idle hands make for the devil's good workshop. And the thing is, if people don't have a reason to live, if they're not doing something that they feel is rewarding, that makes them feel like they contributed, then their life and then the next person's life next to them doesn't amount to a hill of beans. So I think we need to restore value. That's a major thing. We need to get value restored, and we need our younger boys being able to say, I'm living for a purpose and I'm living on purpose.
Wow. Wow. Well, listen, thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much for lending your voice to this conversation. And I want to take away something that you said. We need to restore value. Listen, when we take our voices, listen to what I'm about to say. In the last 3 minutes, I want you to hear me. Those of you on Facebook, I want you to hear me. Those of you who are listening in your cars, your office, wherever you may be. When we take our voices and create value in the village, then we're going to see victory. Let me say that again. That will preach any Sunday of the Sundays. When we take our voices and create value in the village, then we're going to see victory. Why? Because the village has lost value. The village has become vicious. The village has become violent. And we've got to restore value. And what we've got to do, we got to do it collectively. And we've got to stop pointing our fingers, and we got to stop blaming, and we got to take some ownership of responsibility in how we can make it better. Thank you so much. Pastor Warren Cave said, Pastor Greg James, I've been working on a project for the springtime, and I'll get with you. All right. Amen. Warren, certainly want to thank you so much for all you do. We know the work that you do, and it's so amazing that Mr. Bruce said it. It's men like you and so many others who are working and just cannot find the way to get the necessary resources to continue to do what you're doing. But guess what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to get all of us together in one room, and we're going to have to begin to support each other's efforts. Because why? We need our communities to be caring. We need our communities to be concerned. So if we have to support each other to make sure that program that you're running is up and is funded, if 100 men have to just make sure that we're throwing $20 a month into a special fund to support a project, then that's what we've got to do. Because as Thaddeus said earlier, we got too many loopholes that we have to face. I remember submitting a proposal for a project. I had to submit it 4 times till the point I just said, forget it. I'm discouraged. Forget about it. I will not continue to try to convince or convey how this should be done. Can you imagine when you give an opportunity to formerly incarcerated men and women to be employed at working on making safe neighborhoods safe, patrolling safe neighborhoods, patrolling their own communities? Can you imagine doing what needs to be done in the community? Oh my God. Anyway, listen, it's been amazing here. I want this song to bless you. I'll be right back, and I'm going to wrap this up, but it's been amazing. These are the kind of conversations that we're going to be having. I got some amazing co-hosts that's going to be joining me. I'm rolling out so many new programs, one called Conscious Check. That's going to be hosted by me along with Christy Henry. There's another one, Men to Boys, Dr. Willie Williams. And I just got so many. Your health is your wealth. I got so many different hosts that's going to be joining me as I roll out some of the new programs for Wake Up Wednesday. Let this song bless you, and I'll be right back.
All the time, and all the time God is...
Thank you all so much. Shayna, bless you. Wonderful picture concerning your security company. Bless you, Doris. Thank you so much. Tavares, thank you, man. Enjoyed your conversation and your comments. Thank you. Thank you. Tamara, Prophetess Tamara, thank you so much for sharing. That's right. Brainstorming and collaboration sessions are going to be the key. And I mean, we just have to get out here and do it. We just can't talk about it and feel like we shovel the responsibility somewhere else. We've got to do it. And that's what I feel that, we've got to do. That's right. It's been an amazing Wake Up Wednesday right here. We want the Lord to teach us his will. and we want to be still. We want to know that we are. Certainly, I want to thank you for your involvement in the conversation today. So much has been said that really adds so much more energy and synergy to what is needed in our community. And certainly, I want to thank God for those who did call in and share. And guess what? All men called in, and I'm grateful for that because I'm excited about the call that I'm making now for men. It's an amazing call. Right now, we're at about 60. Our goal is to have 100 men in the room, and I'm excited about that. It's on the way. We have in our Joseph Project every year for the month of June, we recognize men who have served time, and we give out awards. We have given out over 123 awards for the last 7 years as we celebrate men coming back. So all of those men are excited about being a part of what we're about to launch when it comes to what we're looking at with gun violence in our communities. And we all know what it means to carry guns. We all have been in some behavior that was not in line with law enforcement. So we know we've been there, we've done that, and we're going to be coming together, not to just talk, we're coming together to put a plan of action together. And whether we get funding from the county, from the city, from wherever, we're going to be doing what we know needs to be done. Because why? There's no outcry when no outcry when we see what happens inside of our housing developments. There's no outcry when students lose their lives on the South Side. So guess what? Men have decided, and conversations that we've having, that, hey, let's just put our foot to the pavement and let's put our voice in the atmosphere. Let's put our hands to the plow. And let's do what we need to do to make a difference in our community. This is Greg James, Wake Up Wednesday. I want to tell you, follow me on Instagram at @TheGregJames_. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and then join us every Sunday morning at 10:30 for our Life Church International Virtual Service. Until then, listen, I want you to be blessed. And remember, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Thank you, Facebook family, for joining us today. And thank you so much for your support, your conversation, and your involvement. Until Sunday, I want you to be blessed, and I want you to stay prayerful.